Thank
Thank you,
you, Governor.
Chairman.
The gentlelady's time has expired.
Thank you.
The chair now recognizes Mr. Jordan for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's good to see some of our former colleagues. I want to thank all our witnesses for being here. I first want to go to what the chairman said in his opening statement a couple hours ago. He attacked Senator Johnson and Representative Gates about statements they had made. And then we just heard Governor Inslee say that government shares the truth. That is, I mean, think about what we have been told about this virus that turned out not to be true. The President of the United States said we have a plan. The President of the United States said we would shut down the virus. Dr. Fauci and CDC and the government said didn't start in the lab. They all said it wasn't gain of function research. They said we'll never impose a mandate, but they did. So much so went to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court struck it down. They told us that the vaccinated can't get it. They told us that the vaccinated can't transmit it. They told us there's no such thing as natural immunity. The last thing you want to do is trust what these people have told us, because everything they've told us has turned out to be misleading and not accurate. Governor Ricketts, are there more people vaccinated now than there were a year ago?
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, we just had a record day for the number of people who have never been vaccinated to get vaccinated. So it's
are there more people who nationwide, are there more COVID deaths this year than there were last year?
You know, I have not tracked the COVID deaths. I heard earlier on the call there were more deaths this year than last year, but I can't tell you, I've been focused on my state. I can't tell you.
Now, are there an uptick in cases as we speak now nationwide than compared to a year ago?
Well, certainly in Nebraska, we've got an uptick in cases. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's an uptick everywhere. So I think the simple question is, how can that be? I mean, how can if mask mandates and lockdowns work, then why didn't they work? I mean, we've seen all kinds of restrictions placed on the American people, all kinds of limits placed on their freedom. If those things all work, how can we have higher caseloads at a time when there are more people vaccinated and more, unfortunately, more people have lost their lives this year than before? Do you have a mask mandate on schools in your state, Governor Ricketts?
No, we've never had a statewide mask mandate ever throughout the pandemic. Different school districts will choose to do mask mandates, but that is up to the local school districts. We've never done it at the state level.
Do you have a mask mandate on businesses in your state?
No, we do not.
Do you have a vaccine passport mandate in your state, as many cities are now imposing on citizens?
No, we do not.
And in your state, by just about any metrics and measure, I looked at some of this prior to the hearing, you've done very well in all kinds. I mean, one of the things I noticed is you've actually had more families move into your state over the time of the pandemic, which cannot be said for New York, New Jersey, California, and DC, the hardest lockdown states in the country. They've actually seen families and individuals leave their state, move out of their state, and move to states where they actually had freedom. So you actually went up in people moving into your state. Is that right?
Yeah, we have certainly got anecdotal evidence to show that there are a lot of people moving to Nebraska for the quality of life here.
Quality of life there. That's I think I would just call it freedom and quality of life. It's a great state. I've been to your state, as many of these other places where people are moving. When COVID first happened, did you have some regulations you placed on your economy and on the citizens early on, like most of the country did when we didn't know a darn thing about this virus? Did you do that?
Yeah, that's absolutely. So it gets back to what I said earlier about slowing the spread of the virus so we could build up the capacity and ultimately get to vaccines, all with the goal of protecting our hospital capacity. And as we build up that capacity and got the vaccines, we did not need to have those restrictions in place. So we've loosened those up significantly, really taking almost all of them off in June. And then with the staffing emergency, we do have some directed health measures specifically around hospital capacity and staffing, again, releasing the restrictions on occupational licensing and supervision requirements, that sort of thing, to give hospitals more capacity or more flexibility in managing their caseloads.
Well, I guess maybe one of the questions I asked too is when you did have those restrictions early on in this during the virus, did you follow, you as the leader of your state, did you follow the restrictions you had in place?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I had to quarantine twice. Most recently, I was exposed and had to wear a mask for 10 days.
Yeah. But this is one of the things that drive, at least the people I talked to in the 4th District of Ohio, one thing that drives them crazy is this double standard. I mean, Mayor Bowser, she had a quarantine requirement in place and didn't follow it because she had to go visit with Joe Biden after the election last year when she left her state and didn't follow the very requirement she put on her citizens. She wouldn't follow. And time again, we've seen elected officials, most often they seem to be from the other party, who won't follow the very restrictions they place on the people they're supposed to represent, and the people who pay their salary won't follow the very restrictions they put on those people. So I'm glad that you did that. Any idea, last question, Governor Ricketts? Any idea how many people work at the CDC?
I have no idea how many people work at the
Like
CDC.
10,000 people. 10,000 people work there. Any idea how many studies they've done on natural immunity at the CDC, or frankly at the NIH?
I'm not aware of any on natural immunity. In fact, I think we're the only major country in the world that does not recognize natural immunity.
Could you hazard a guess why the NIH and CDC, with combined over 33,000 employees and an annual budget combined of over $56 billion, why they wouldn't do a study on natural immunity? Any idea? Do you hazard a guess?
I have no idea. I can only imagine they just were not told to do so.
Yeah. Okay. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank the gentleman for yielding back. The chair now recognizes Ms. Maloney.